To start off, there are 3 steps to doing the passé composé. There's number 1, the subject or the sujet. Number 2, auxiliaire or the auxiliary verb. And finally 3, the PP or the passé participe. Now, the subject.
Here we have all six subjects, and those 6 subjects are je, tu, il, nous, vous, and ils. And as you can see that all of these have different auxiliaries which will be used in conjugating in the other 2 steps.
Yes, now the 2 auxiliaries we have here is avoir, to have, and être, to be. Now, as you know, the conjugate for avoir is a, and so on, and suis, et, and so on. Now, avoir is the most widely used auxiliary verb to do the PP, and we will explain when to use the être later. Now, to conjugate in the PP, we know there are 3 different verbs. There's the RE verbs, ER, and the IR. Now, the RE verbs get a U at the end when conjugated. The ER get an E with an aigu, and the IR get an I. Now, as you can see with these 3 examples, fumer, vendre, and choisir, fumer gets taken that away and put an E with an aigu, which is the same all the way down. Vendre gets an U, vendu, all the way down, and choisir gets an ion all the way down, which is the same with all PPs. Now, as I said, it's a bit special with être. Introducing Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp.
So, Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp, each one of the letters in the name stands for a different word, which is conjugated differently from the others. So, D stands for devenir, R for revenir, M for monter, R for rester, S for sortir, V for venir, A for arriver, N for naître, D for descendre, E for entrer, R again for retourner, T for tomber, R for rester, A for aller, and M for mourir.
Yes. Now, this may be really difficult to understand and to remember, so to make it a bit easier, there's something called les maisons d'être. All of these verbs have something in common. They all have something to do with movement. And as you can see, all these verbs can have something to do around a house. To arrive, to come, to enter, to climb, to descend, to fall, to die, and to be born, all something to do with movement. And all something that can be around les maisons d'être, which is a much easier way to remember this. Finally, there's a bit extra. The reflexive verbs, such as me réveiller, to wake up, also count with the être verbs. Now, finally, the être verbs in the PP act like an adjective. As you know, an adjective gets taken a letter on regarding the subject's gender. For example, in le ciel, the sky, the blue sky, nothing gets put on. The blue ocean, an E gets put on because ocean is feminine. The blue skies, an S gets put on, masculine, plural. And finally, an ES gets put on the feminine plural. This is the same with the être verbs, like il est allé, elle est allée with an E, ils sont allés with an S, and elles sont allées with an ES on. Now, this is only for être verbs and not avoir verbs. That is the thing to remember. Now, finally, we will have a little test. Now, chez something aller. What should be put in this? Suis. Chez mange et. And finally, something à choisir. Tu. Now you know how to do le passé composé.